All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Camp Content, your new favorite podcast on content marketing and client acquisition in 2024. I am excited about our guest today, so I'm going to jump right in. Where do we unravel the mysteries of the digital jungle with our guest today, Charmon Stiles? She's a maestro of connecting brand to revenue. With a whopping 17 years in marketing and creative wizardry, this fractional CMO is the real deal. Charmon's secret sauce lies in building, scaling, and leading marketing and creative teams to spearhead revenue growth for high-flying SaaS and mid-market champs. Brand storytelling, nailed it. Creative bar rising, consider it sky high. This marketing maven doesn't just talk the talk, but she walks the walk. So picture this, 133% ARR boost for a SaaS product, a 361% brand awareness spike, and a content hub that's practically a magnet for new users. Some of her clients include Rolling Stone Culture Council, Fast Company Executive Board, Forbes Councils, Newsweek Expert Forum, Russell Athletic, Smashburger, and Shea Moisture, and that's just really the top of the iceberg. There's so many more clients, too many to list. So Charmon means business with a client list like that. But here's the cherry on top. Charmon's personal triumph shines in forging unbreakable bonds with her teams, which I love. Trust, integrity, support, and a sprinkle of challenge. That's the recipe for moving mountains together. So grab your marshmallows and let's get ready to roast some knowledge nuggets. I love these things. With Charmon Stiles on Camp Content. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for that awesome intro, Molly. I'm happy to be here. Excited to jump into the conversation.
Me too. We got to talk before, so we have a slight advantage to the listeners because we already got to hang out. So I am legitimately looking forward to this conversation and really talking about brand versus marketing and content and all of that. I think you have a really great handle on that. So let's kind of get into let's jump right into it. So how does brand strategy inform content marketing? Because I think people get a little bit confused on all of that.
A brand strategy is actually really important, and it's something that I'm very passionate about because it can make such a huge difference for both internal teams and then externally how that brand is experienced. So a brand strategy is like a North Star. I say that all the time. It is a North Star. It gets into what's your purpose? Why do you exist? What's the vision for the company? And, it helps internal teams understand that and get excited about it and buy into that so that it can be articulated externally. And so that would impact content marketing, right? So, when you're writing content for a brand, you want to be able to really tell that story in a meaningful way, both meaningful to the brand, so something that you can be true to and follow up with and act on, but then also in a way that matters, to the people that you're targeting. So, identifying like your ideal clients or, ideal target audience and their appropriate segments, is part of what's in a brand strategy. So it's something that I like to actually have to hand to a content team to give direction and clarity.
And where do you start with a brand strategy? Is it identifying the avatar of the ideal client, or is it about like the story of how that brand, like where do you start with all of that?
So it really starts with why do you exist? Why was this company formulated? What was the purpose? What was the intent? What were you looking to solve? What value do you bring? What do you offer? And why do people care? Both equally important.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can you give me an example of growth that you led using a brand strategy to inform the content marketing? So can you give us you have quite the list of companies you've worked with, so I'm sure you've got some success stories there.
Sure. So yeah, let's talk about the one where were able to increase the brand visibility by 361%. That was a huge win. Basically, I had a brand that there was marketing happening. They had a website. The brand had been in existence for a few years, but we didn't have personas. We didn't have, like a defined brand tone or like a messaging framework. We hadn't done, customer interviews to understand why they joined or why they liked us, why they were there. And so we did all of that like foundational work, and it really helped us be clear on who we were marketing to. You can always, like, just by looking at your audience, you can make guesses about what they'll care about and why they might buy from you and why they might stay. But then you can do customer interviews to truly understand all of those things. And usually there's alignment, but there's like nuances that, you might not imagine unless you actually do the homework and the research to dig in to find, the right answers. And so we built the foundation of the brand, and that informed, the messaging that was on the website. That informed our content strategy. That informed, I know there's been a lot of changes with Google and search generative experiences, but at the time we were still looking for, keywords, and
Hmm.
that informed like our keyword strategy, which then informed topic ideas and, just general content ideas for how to reach our audience in a meaningful way. So it really is a key piece to informing a content strategy. And through all of that work, within like a 6-month period, we were ranking for so many more keywords, increasing visibility. Something else that happened as a result of all of that foundational work was, we totally rebranded, redesigned the website, reworked all the messaging, and the content architecture of the website too. It helped us, like, okay, like X, Y, and Z are most important, so let's put this information like first on a page, or, closer to the beginning of the user journey. So it helped with that as well. And so holistically, those are all the pieces that contributed to that visibility lift.
And I would imagine that also translated into increased revenue for that business as well.
Of
Um,
course. Yeah, the
and
brand had really been struggling, because, they were impacted by COVID, like so many businesses were. And, part of their business, hinged on in-person meetings, which of course, weren't possible during COVID. So, we had to pivot quickly. We had to, do the work to figure out how to connect with the people, that we were targeting and the people that were already in the community.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's been a very crazy time. Everything's changed so much. A lot of people had to pivot, or at least pivot how they did business. A lot of
Yeah,
people pivoted their business, but I think the smart people pivoted how they did their business and not jumping ship completely, right? It's like recognizing that
yeah.
it's a different time. Speaking of which, you can't talk about a different time without talking about AI. So, how is
Okay.
AI impacting the branding world? How is that playing into your business?
Oh man, so many different ways. So to branding specifically, I would say that it's absolutely impacting creative teams and content teams.
Hmm.
I build and lead both types of teams. And so I have been trying to carefully fold in AI in the areas that will support the humans doing the work, and, help them, uh, I guess, create more space to be strategic. So, maybe, rather than like, let's use content for example. This is camp content, right? So let's talk content. So for on the content side, we will use AI for, generating ideas,
Hmm.
helping us to maybe formulate like just the bones of, a content outline. Never writing content. What I find is that anytime you give a piece of AI content to a writer, they essentially have to just start over and rewrite the whole thing. So that really has not been successful. Um, but definitely, for content, those other areas, and for brand, it can, we're creative teams are obviously creating images, but it's like learning how to do really quality inputs to
Mm-hmm.
get outputs that are usable, and then also like checking them, keeping an eye on them, making sure that maybe like reference checking them, resource checking them. So yeah, so for creative and content, we're definitely folding in AI where it makes sense to do that, but really just in support of the creative process for both teams, not replacing that creative process or like that human touch when it comes to tone and personality and things like that. Those little nuances that are so important.
For sure, because I think AI can be really helpful, but it's not a replacement, but it's good bones. I think there's some really good ideas and good stuff
Mhm.
in there that you can expand upon, and sometimes you just need that push to get you going, and then you even if you end up
Yeah,
rewriting it all, but sometimes you just need that push into action to get going. Um, can
yeah.
you show? Well, I think I realized I have a double question here. I was going to ask you to show me an example of how brand strategy works, but we already talked about that. So um, let's talk about what is the craziest strategy or idea that you've ever presented to a client that actually that worked.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Digging back in the archives. Hmm. There's been a lot, because I do have an agency background, and like you said, I've worked with a lot of brands. We actually, proposed some really fun ideas, for a sweatshirt or fitness clothing provider client that, we're gonna require us to travel, and, um, it was for Russell Athletic, I'll just say. So the idea pitched was, actually one of my favorite ideas. I was, working with a content strategist that I have partnered with at the agency, and we were just had all these ideas flying, and we wanted to go to New York, and we wanted to go resale shopping, and it was to find some of the vintage, authentic Russell brands, or Russell sweatshirts. And because there's some out there that are actually not authentic, believe it or not. And so you can tell by looking at the logo. And we were gonna, it was like a video project, right? And we weren't able to actually do it, but it was one of the best ideas that I think we presented. And, the result would have been really like creating a lot of like, community engagement, and like brand advocates would, be
Totally.
show. We wanted to do UGC with that as well, like have users
Right.
show us like their sweatshirts and like where they found them. The reason why we picked New York is because there's some really great resale shops there that really
Totally.
like just focus on like sports brands like that and sports clothes,
Yeah,
and even jerseys and stuff like that. So
for sure.
um, that was my favorite idea that was presented. Like I said, it didn't go through, but I wanted to share that one because I think that that was probably a miss, right? Like that we should have done that because we would have generated user content. We would have engaged the community, talking about content and like a customer experience, right?
For sure.
That would have created like a good connection. And at the time, we were also trying to launch a new product line for them to a new audience and
Right.
expand their audience. And it was like just right within that like sweet spot.
So
So,
close.
yeah,
That's amazing. I think they missed the boat on that one too, because yeah, people like taking pictures of the content and taking pictures of their sweatshirts and showing, oh, I have the
Mhm.
OG logo, and yeah, I mean that really would have been super smart.
Yeah.
Um,
To
so
this day, I still have a Russell sweatshirt that I got on eBay that
right,
is real vintage. It's like from the 70s. Like, it's one of my favorite sweatshirts. I'm a brand advocate, right? I'm a fan.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good stuff.
So,
It's good quality
yeah.
stuff for sure, and people do get into that. They're really proud of that and finding those things. So,
Mhm.
well, Russell,
Yeah.
they missed. Maybe they'll call you back and get it done. All right. All right, so we're gonna move on to our speed round, and so I have 10 questions prepared for you that are some are fun and silly, and some are pretty solid. So we're gonna
All
jump
right.
right into our speed round. All right, number one. What is one word that best describes your approach to brand storytelling?
Strategic.
I like that. That's one of my favorite words. I love strategy because without it, what are you doing? All right, number two. How do you recharge creatively when you're facing a marketing challenge?
I walk or I water.
The garden,
Yes.
not your children. You're like, get in the yard. I'm taking out the hose, kids. I got stuff to think about.
Yeah, that's
I
actually a joke among my teams. They're like, "Go water the grass. We need ideas."
That's so fun. Literally, you're literally and figuratively watering the grass. I love it. I'm the same way.
Yes.
I love my treadmill. I get all my best thinking done on the treadmill, and I spend a lot of time in my garden too. So I'm gonna co-sign.
Yeah.
Um, and number three, top tool or software you can't live without in your marketing and branding arsenal.
Ooh, oh my God. My toolbox is big. I would say SEMrush.
Oh, didn't see that one coming. Okay, okay, I have that too. Number four, define your leadership style in 3 words.
Human-centric, approachable.
I like that. That's I would agree. You're a very approachable person. Okay,
Thank you.
number five. Morning person or night owl when it comes to tackling creative projects?
Ah, I'm just like not a morning person, so let's
There's
say night owl.
yeah. I think I've become a morning person. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I used to be a night owl, but now I'm a morning person. Um,
Ooh,
all right. Numbers. Well, you live in Costa Rica, you live on the equator, and so you wake up with the sun, you go to sleep when it goes away. It's just, if it's dark, we're in bed. That's kind of how it goes around here. Okay. All
yeah.
right. Number six. Best piece of advice you've received in your career.
Productize yourself.
Ooh. And you have done that with your brand and consulting business and everything else. So great advice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Number seven. Favorite social media platform for engaging with audiences.
For me, it's been LinkedIn. And that is because even though I do both B2B and B2C, I'm probably more heavy like B2B.
That makes sense. What's your
Yeah.
favorite guilty pleasure social media platform?
I probably spend the most time on Instagram, but I do get sucked into TikTok. Sometimes I get lost in there.
It happens.
I
They
know. It's
they
like
show
20
you some
video.
stuff. I'm like, I didn't even know this was my thing. I don't know. I guess I'm into haunted houses or something. I don't know. They show you weird stuff on those For You pages. You're like, why do you think I'm into this? But then you watch 20 of them and you're like, well, that's why you
Right.
think I'm into this. That's my own fault.
I know. It's like 20 videos later. Help, like pull me
Help.
out.
I know. I spend too much time on Instagram and Reels and golden retriever videos in particular. They're just so wholesome. Can't get mad at that.
Yeah. Mine are cat videos. Instagram, same thing.
It's good. So sometimes you need a break from the doom and gloom that is the world that we live in. So I'll take some golden retrievers any day of the week. Okay.
Me too.
Number 8. What is one tip that you would give a company to revamp a stagnant content strategy?
Oh, well, that's something you do have to look at periodically. You can't like set it and forget it. So I would say check it against your brand strategy. Are you still in alignment? And does it need to evolve? Because brand strategies evolve. And content strategies should evolve too. Because here's the thing, our audiences, like users, us, humans, our behaviors are evolving at the pace of technology right now.
Mm.
So keep up.
Yeah, I mean, and it's happening so fast, all of it. It's
Yeah.
happening so fast, like the rate in which we're adapting in the new marketing techniques and styles and what people want and
Hmm.
what they don't want. It's all changing so fast that
Yeah.
you gotta stay on top of it. Okay, number 9, coffee or tea to kickstart your marketing magic?
Coffee, maybe two.
Maybe 2. Okay, are you a cream and sugar kind of a girl, or are you a coffee black?
Cream.
I've become a black coffee person.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
It's good.
Bold or medium?
I like the dark roast. I want it to look like really, yeah, you can't even see through it. That's how I want my
Yep.
coffee. I think it's a Costa Rican thing, I don't know. Who
I
knows?
don't know. I like that. That makes me happy that you're drinking bold coffee right now.
I feel like I'm more of an adult when I drink black coffee because if it's not black, then I want it to taste like ice cream. It has to have like lots of sugar and milk in it, and then it's just bad at that point. So
Yeah.
I can convince myself that I'm more of an adult when I drink the coffee black, right? That's what adults do. Okay,
Well, I
number.
never said I wanted to be an adult, so there's that.
There you go. I didn't
So I'll
check
keep.
that box either, to be honest. That's a valid point. Um, okay, this is a fun one. If you could collaborate with any brand, past or present, who would it be?
Virgin.
Ooh, how come?
I just, I don't know. They've done some really cool things over the years. I actually that list is fairly short. Um, the other one would be Rolling Stone, which I have done, which is like a dream. But Virgin is a top brand for me up there. They're doing some really cool things in the world, and there's like so many segments of the brand. I just would love to dive into that, and there's some personality to the brand. I like that.
For sure. What's the guy's name? Richard
Branson, yeah.
Branson. That's right. I don't know why it was escaping me. Richard Branson, if you're listening, hit her up. Let's go. Let's do this. All right. So that's our speed round. That is it. So now we're going to move on to our next segment of the show, which is called Real or Fake. So I'm going to give you some podcast names,
Okay,
and then you're going to tell me if you think they're real or fake. And we'll see how many you can get right. All right. So number 1,
all right.
marketing and margaritas.
Real.
It is real. All right.
Cool.
Number 2. I know. I was like, I should listen to that. It's probably pretty good. Number
Right.
2, more perfect marketing.
Oh man. It's probably real, but I'm going to say fake because no one should use that title.
It's real.
Oh
Real
God, I
bad
knew
is
it.
what it is. Exactly.
I knew
Um,
it.
exactly. I'm like more perfect. I can't handle you. And what's crazy is it has a lot of downloads per episode. So I guess
Okay.
people like bad grammar, but whatever. All right. Number 3, party like a marketer.
Fake.
It's real.
Oh
It's,
God.
it's
Okay.
real. All right. Number 4, the Naked Leadership Podcast.
Just,
It's audio only. Don't worry.
yeah. Is that okay? Let's go with real since I've
It
been
is.
wrong.
It is real. If you can
Okay.
believe it. Naked
Hmm.
Leadership.
So what's the value prop of that one? Do you know?
Um, let's see. I can tell you right now. Leadership is often lonely. This conversation reveals the unspoken challenges at the top and creates resources for connected leadership. And shockingly, it has 282 episodes and publishes twice a week. So
Okay. Huh.
people like Naked Leadership.
Okay.
Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Anything is
Not
possible.
me.
Yeah.
True.
I should listen to it. Maybe it must be good 282 episodes later. I mean, you don't keep doing it if it's bad, right? Or they're just suckers for punishment, but I don't know. They've got some good listeners. 2,000 downloads per episode, so
That's a
people like
lot.
naked
Yeah.
leadership, I guess. All right,
Yeah.
and the last one is whiskey, jazz, and leadership.
That one has to be real.
It is real.
Good.
It is real.
Good.
I want to listen to that one. I'm actually intrigued by that one.
Yeah.
All right. And so my last question, I kind of want to go a little deeper on this one. Usually I ask a wild card question, but you've done a lot of work with all these big companies, and you're really like, I love the team building, the integrity, the trust, the support. I feel like 2024 is a difficult year for a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses are struggling. Like, it's just not the same. Like, we dealt with the transition of the pandemic, and then a lot of businesses thrived and it was easier to get business, and some businesses didn't last at all. But now we're in a whole different world. It's like post-pandemic, everything is being done differently. We're looking at massive layoffs everywhere. What would be your bit of advice to companies that are like in this space, and they know they need some help. They feel like maybe they can't afford it. They know they need somebody like you. Like, what should they focus on? Where should they start? Should they just say to hell with it, we're going to use our budget and go all in? Because it's a different time. What would you recommend to people?
So for team building and team structure, where I would start is to well, first of all, make sure that your teams are structured correctly. Organizational design is a big piece of what I do. I often find that creative and marketing teams are, it's like people are throwing things over the wall, hoping they'll get it back when they can. There aren't a lot of like processes
Mm-hmm.
or workflows defined. And that is because I tend to work with like younger companies like SMBs and mid-market.
Right.
Um, and so some structure is really helpful, but also, make sure the things are in place that empower your teams to be more strategic, right? Like, not treating them like a drive-through. And so make sure that they can move work, they know who, what, when, what's next, so that they don't have to think about those things, hunt those things down, chase people down for reviews or like all of that type of like creative and marketing stuff. And then they can come to the table with more strategic ideas that will help a business more than them just like taking orders. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think when employees and team members like understand the bigger picture and they feel like they're a part of it,
Hmm.
they're going to perform better. They're going to feel heard, valued, respected. I see a
Yes.
lot of people, I have a very good friend, Liz Rudner, and she's been in graphic design and working in the tech space in San Francisco. And it's all committee by design, or just, design by committee. And it's like, all these people who don't know anything about design or are telling the designer what to do. It's very soul crushing, right? To go in,
Hmm.
to be hired to do something, and then to not be given the space to be able to actually do it. And then people who don't know what they're talking about are telling you what to do, and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't care how much money you're paying me. This sucks, right? This is not, you want to be valued, you want to be appreciated, you want to be seen, you want to see, you want your talents and your experience to be validated. So that team building, I think, is so important. And as we move into this age of AI, where a lot of people are just laying people off because AI can do it, it's like, well, no, no, it can't.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. No, I think it's important to like ask your teams, like, what do you need to be successful? Um, Something else that's really helpful is assessing like what skill sets you have on the team, and then compare that to what they're actually doing. Like,
doing,
are you utilizing their strengths? Um, so all of
yeah,
those things are really empowering to creative teams, and yeah, it crushes creativity when,
Mhm.
things aren't in place for them and they're just churning out files, without a creative brief. Like they don't know how something's going to be used, where it's going to be used, or what the goal is. There's
Right.
there's just certain things that need to happen for those two teams to be successful, and those nuances are different from what other teams need. So it's a common problem that I fix.
Right on. Well, if anybody's listening to this and they're like, that resonates with me, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you? We'll have all your links and everything in the show notes here, but what's the best way for somebody to reach out and maybe talk to you about their problems with this stuff?
Well, I you can go to charmonstiles.com/podcast. I've got a page there with my email, phone, social links. So, please connect with me. I'd love to have a conversation about what challenges, you're having, and you just see where there's some synergies and where I can, fill in the gaps, help connect the dots for you.
That's awesome because you are a fractional CMO. So if somebody is looking for some interim help or clarity, then that's exactly what you do, and so that's a great place. I
Yeah.
think for businesses, that's nice to have that option to not have to bring somebody on full time forever, but just in an interim to get some things done and get clarity. I think that's a good place for people to be in. So if you're looking for a rock star, you found her here on Cam Content. Let me know when you've hired her so I can celebrate with you guys. But I would like to
Thank
just
you.
say, yeah, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. I love your background. I do. I love all the nature back there. It's
Thanks.
really nice for sure. Always nice chatting with you. Thank you for taking time to spend with us, and thank you to all of our listeners and viewers for tuning into Camp Content. If you found this information valuable, please consider commenting. The algorithm loves engagement, so please leave us a comment. Maybe share it with your friends. And if you'd like to be on the show, let me know. And more importantly, go to Charmon's website and look at some of the work she's done. I mean, and she's got a laundry list of clients that she's worked for, skills that she's proficient in, and she can bring a whole lot to the table with all these decades of experience. If you're looking for a fractional CMO, this is a great place to start. So thanks for your time. Until next time, be excellent to each other, and we will see you on the internet. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Camp Content. This is Molly.
And this is Matt.
And we are Heartcast Media, aka Camp Content, and we appreciate all of your support. If you found this content valuable, please comment on social media, LinkedIn, wherever you find us, and we will make sure to comment back.
And be sure to go on and subscribe and like on your favorite platforms, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, you name it. Leave us that subscription, leave us that good review.
We'll love you forever. So until next time, be excellent to each other, and we'll see you next week.
Produced by Heartcast Media.